Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to share some updates with you during your annual meeting. My name is Nicole Manapol. Many of you may have met me last year at the annual meeting in Belfast. It's hard to believe that was a year ago, and we were just getting ready to launch what you heard today, mentioned a few times, the USDA Rural Economic Development Innovation Initiative, the REDI initiative. And so today, I'll be talking a little bit about that, what's happened over the last year. And for those who don't know me and who haven't met me, I direct a program called Letchworth Gateway Villages. And Letchworth Gateway Villages is somewhat unique in that this is a cross-county municipal consortium driven by municipalities. It was established by Perry in Wyoming County, Mount Morris and Geneseo in Livingston County in 2017 to catalyze economic growth and new tourism-related opportunities related to this growing visitation to Letchworth State Park. As Carl mentioned, and as many of you who are familiar with our area know, back in 2015, when Letchworth got that designation as the #1 state park, we really saw visitation skyrocket. And for many of these communities who had really been working on downtown revitalization this last decade, they saw this as an opportunity to reposition their communities and take advantage of that growing visitor market. And so it's through network building, technical assistance and research that, our aim is really to foster the regional cooperation needed to build a 21st century rural economy. And for us, that's very much linked to the outdoor recreation economy and heritage tourism. And so we do this with many partners. So in addition to our 3 villages, the USDA is a core partner, Livingston County Downtown Partnership Program. We work with private sector companies, American Rock Salt, the O'Connell Organization are contributors. And then of course, this past year, the Friends of the Genesee Valley, Greenway, became part of this group. So we don't do this alone. This is definitely a partnership effort. So in 2019, as part of all of the work that we started to do together, the USDA awarded us technical assistance through the REDI initiative. And really the purpose of this opportunity was, to start growing this regional collaboration. We could already see in the first 3 years that we started, first couple years actually, that we were working together, that, this idea of building a sustainable destination anchored to Letchworth State Park was really actually much bigger than just the park. As we worked with communities, did, placemaking workshops, we really understood that, people's identity was much more strongly anchored to the Genesee Valley than it was to Letchworth, as important as Letchworth is. And so that really had us starting to look outward. And it was through this initiative, and I know Joan sent you all an article that we did for the Landmark Society in I think it was their summer magazine issue that goes more into this history. So I won't go too much into that, but this really has created a great platform for, now we're working with over 70 different stakeholders across a 5-county region, all who share this, vision and belief that the Genesee Valley's region's unique natural, cultural, and heritage assets are central for reinventing our rural economy. And so over the course of this past year, we've been working, this is obviously not the full 70 people we've been working with, but you can get a sense of some of the groups, definitely outdoor recreation focused. We also work closely with SUNY Geneseo. We work, again, outdoor recreation, small businesses like Silver Lock-In is a great glamping, one of our area's first glamping sites by Silver Lake. And also Trail Otter, one of our new outfitter guides that's based in Leicester, New York. And so over the past year, it's been really incredible. So, the process itself was all about bringing these groups together, a very diverse set of people and with this, interest in building an outdoor recreation economy to identify gaps and understand what kinds of priorities we wanted to start working on as a group. And so over the past year, we raised, as Carl talked about, over $300,000 in grants, all geared towards priorities that were established by this network. And so the USDA grant that Carl mentioned, that is going towards building a comprehensive digital trail mapping and management tool. One of the working groups that emerged from this process were a conglomeration of all the trails groups. And that was one of the issues that they saw, is that, while there's a lot of individual efforts, we don't really have a robust, comprehensive tool that's, has all of our Blueway maps, all of our cycling routes, hiking, etc., but also is a management tool for park managers, so they can get real-time data to be notifying, of, things, damage on the trail, or, unsafe conditions, etc. So that was part of what we applied for and won. And then the second one, we actually just got a huge surprise Friday. The Northern Border Regional Commission that we had applied to as well, had said, no, we weren't successful in August when they released the information about the grants. And then surprise, surprise, on Friday, we got awarded another pot of money through them. So we are going full steam ahead with the original Trailtown destination program that I'll be talking about in the next few slides. So, through this network, we've also catalyzed over $750,000 in other resources for the region, which I hate to be cryptic about, but they haven't fully announced this yet. But this was another federal program that we work closely on with the Landmark Society and Parks, and it was, their inspiration through the REDI Network that really motivated them to go after this. So they were successful, and we'll be announcing it officially soon, more details on that. And so together we've, created a series of resources listed here, many of which you can see on our website, but this is really, has created that foundation for moving into this next phase of a Trailtown destination program. So, as I mentioned, as a result of the planning process, we got funding to do a Trailtown destination program. And, this is really pretty much the process that Letchworth Gateway Villages went through. So, as Carl was talking about, how do we define what a trail town is? Trail towns are gateway communities, communities that sit outside a park, public lands, etc. So, this was really, again, the impetus for Letchworth Gateway Villages. And so we're really excited to kind of package up what we've done over the last 3 years and share it with more communities with this program. And so, trail town programs, the purpose of them are to revitalize rural communities by growing outdoor tourism and small businesses. And there are 4 key components: assessment and research, consistent trail-wide marketing, business coaching and networking, as well as physical improvements and amenities that Carl was talking about. And the process really moves through several phases. This very much looks like the process that Letchworth Gateway Villages went through. The first one being, communities formally adopt and commit to the program and form working groups or committees at the community level to work together. We start by identifying our assets, so looking at our trails, our parks, the recreation assets, businesses, and other attractions or strengths within the community, to start kind of pulling those things and inventorying them. Assessing, so we assess the physical infrastructure, the amenities, and the visitor experience. And then you move towards, once you understand those gaps and those priorities, you move towards developing strategies to address those things. And those can look very different from community to community. And then, you know, the idea is about building, as Carl was talking about, really this network of like-minded communities with shared values who are all working towards a common goal, which is, you know, establishing, you know, their communities as kind of hospitality hubs to visitors using trails and other outdoor recreation assets. And then finally, you're building towards promoting your trail town destination through consistent trail-wide branding and marketing. And for us, we've built a platform, exploregeneseevalley.com, which we're using to do that. So the Trail Town Impact, why this, you know, is you know, a great program. One of the most well-documented case studies was the Progress Funds. And, you know, here you can read, you know, they were able to, over 10 years, you know, achieve an overall economic impact of 50 million per year. They created 65 new businesses and 270 jobs in their first 10 years. It had a 10-fold increase in visitation, including overnight stays, which is what we all want because those generate bed tax and 6 times more revenue than day trips. And other documented impacts include, you know, increased property values, investment, trail amenities, as we're already seeing in Christine's presentation today, as well as improved infrastructure in rural areas and increased social cohesion and pride. For us in Letchworth Gateway Villages, we don't have 10 years, but I can tell you what we're starting to see as a result of these activities. You know, we've been successfully able to kind of reignite a regional identity, the Genesee Valley. And as I mentioned, building that digital infrastructure, the exploregeneseevalley.com, to begin to promote that and tell our stories. We've also built a lot of resources around technical assistance and coaching for small businesses, particularly helping them navigate, you know, digital marketing and being more visible online. In just the 3 communities we worked in, with 270 tourism-related businesses, we've increased their online visibility from 40% to 72% in less than 3 years. We've catalyzed 12 new hospitality related businesses. And, you know, in addition to the 300,000 we were able to win this year, in total, these 3 communities, by each putting in a little bit every year, have been able to collectively raise, you know, $727,074 that they could not have raised on their own. So key benefits for this particular program will be small business coaching support, new venture creation, consistent marketing, branding, and wayfinding for the region, improved municipal capacity. This is really important. This is actually a cornerstone of, you know, what Letchworth Gateway Villages has been doing with each municipality, in the sense that, you know, we're really providing strategic services, data, for these municipalities to make more informed decisions. So it's, you know, in many cases, like the municipalities having an extra pair of hands with planning, with strategies, with fundraising, et cetera. And then, you know, our hope is to have a model trail town program that will be replicated to more communities in the Genesee Valley. Here's our project timeline and activities. So right now, we're in the process of establishing trail town committees. We've already reached out to several in Livingston County and Allegany County. We'll be starting assessments and baseline data. So these are the trail town assessments, as well as starting to inventory, you know, different assets in each community. Community branding and mapping workshops that will go for several months. And again, this is where communities begin to learn how to tell their story of place and start defining what is distinctive about their particular town. Throughout this, we provide digital coaching and marketing support. And then there'll also be trail town enhancements that we got with the NBRC grant. These will go towards things like kiosks, public art, bike racks, gates, etc. And then finally, we will take up all of this data and create action plans for each community. We have 10 trail town target communities that we're looking at. So in addition to our 3 original communities in Perry, Mount Morris, and Geneseo, we're talking with Avon, Leicester, Nunde, and York, and Livingston County, Scottsville, and the town of Wheatland and Monroe, as well as Houghton or Canandaigua, and Cuba in Allegany County. And this is, again, you know, to kind of start small and create some more model trail towns to move forward. Other deliverables for this, we're developing a Trail Town toolkit and guide for communities. Again, there's, you know, as we've learned through REDI, there is a lot of innovation. There's a lot of, you know, local solutions that, you know, we've kind of shared and uncovered. And so it'll be packaging a lot of this up for our own, you know, kind of distinctive Trail Town program for this context. We'll also be working on, you know, by leveraging Explore Genesee Valley and, you know, some of the branding work we've already done with that. We'll be expanding that to create kind of branding and wayfinding design guidelines for communities around signage and other types of marketing materials. As I mentioned, we'll have the digital trail mapping and management tool. Trail Town enhancements. We're also going to be developing a strategy and model for a fund to help continue this work ongoing. And of course, we hope to have a network of 10 model Trail Town communities by the end of this. And here I'm just going to share some screenshots of the digital trail mapping tool that's in development. These, again, are just mock-ups. This is obviously not our area, this map or this trail that's been drawn here. But you can get an idea of what the layouts are and how you have, you know, kind of related businesses that are off, you know, these trails for visitors to see. We're also creating opportunities for people to fundraise. So, you know, if, you know, communities that work with us on getting their content up here, they can have a button at the bottom of their trail that can go directly to their website to help them raise money for, you know, their trail work. So again, we're really trying to create this ecosystem and platform to help everyone. And of course, my dog is gonna start going off. Sorry about this. And so these are some of the other features that we're working to build. And again, we'll be reaching out to a lot of the trail managers to get more of their feedback on this as we keep going. And so for us, next steps, this is really, as Carl said, we're going to be working to confirm Trail Town communities, the ones that we targeted for this next phase, and working to set up those community level Trail Town committees so we can begin the assessment and digital inventory process. So thank you all. I'm going to stop sharing and mute myself because my dog is barking at all the hunters out here. So my apologies for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. That was great. Now, you can't go too far because there's going to be some questions, I'm sure. So again, people can type them in, or you can raise your hand and I can unmute you or ask you to unmute yourselves. So are there questions for Carl or for Nicole? And I'll try to keep track of all of you. All right. There must be questions someplace. Uh-oh. Okay. Carol?
No questions? I guess we answered them all with our presentation.
Okay. All right. Well, if there are no questions, we thank you very much for both programs. And at this point, we'll move on with our schedule. We just have a very, very brief business meeting, so it's not going to take very long. And since we are lacking a number of our, oh, there's a quick question from Alan Kirchschlager. Okay, let me get Alan. Hold on a minute. I'll find him here on our list.
I was hoping for a question from Alan.
Okay, let me see here. Okay, where are you, Alan?
You should be able to hear me now.
Oh, I can hear you now. Okay, yeah.
Okay. And I realize this, first of all, you guys are awesome and I worship all of you and stuff like that. So especially Saint Joan.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is just a real quick question, and maybe this isn't, the setting really get into long discussion of this, but I know in the past, previous now deceased Wyoming County planner, and one of the issues that in the developing some of the trail issues with the Genesee Transportation Council, and I'm a real big fan of the previous generation, Rich Perrin and of course Bob Torzinski, and the current leaders continue that. But one of the problems I think everybody's aware is if this is developed out of a rural economic development initiative, and the Letchworth Gateway Villages being the center, one of the big problems that political scientists and sociologists will always deal with is this problem of center versus periphery. And the center, when you start having big cities, often does tend to be the city itself, and then the periphery is the rural areas. And I think everybody here is aware of that problem that people in the Genesee Finger Lakes region, especially the southern ends, Portageville, some of those areas, the Wyoming County planner mentioned years ago that some of the people in the southern ends, he was very frustrated, as much as I, have such a high opinion. He was frustrated with some of the exclusion of the southern parts in Wyoming County in his area. I think most of you know with Allegany County that some of us worked very hard in the Western New York Regional Sustainability Council plan, and then it was predictable. I mean, I knew this was going to happen. It's almost, you can predict this is going to happen, but they really did try. They put Richard Zink of Southern Tier West in charge of that in an effort to prevent the institutionalized marginalization of the rural areas. So these, but then as soon as it was developed, it got, swallowed by the Niagara regions and, planning office and so on. So my question then is, as we're moving towards developing the Genesee Valley region, which, I think Nicole and Carl, a few of you know, I'm one of the big fans of that. As a regional identity, and this may be a very uncomfortable question, especially Carl, you're up the northern end. The trail towns so far, everything's south of I-90. Have you guys considered saying we're going to define the Genesee Valley region in a way that it's going to be nothing north of I-90? So, I mean, I know that's that. In other words, we're afraid, and a very realistic fear that if we start saying Rochester's part of it, that we're going to be swallowed up. And I think a few of you know that that's actually a real problem that a few of us have had to deal with precisely right now.
And I'll be happy to jump in, and then maybe Nicole can add. But
yeah, because we actually have, we're very much limited because we're the USDA. We have to work in rural areas. So we are completely defined by rural.
And 90% of the Greenway is south of Scottsville. So the focus of the funding has come through USDA, and the focus of the funding from the Northern Border Regional Commission is only Livingston County, but yet the Ralph Wilson Foundation can fund Allegany, Wyoming, I believe Monroe. But as you saw on my slide, priority one for us is the southern part of the trail, and priority meaning we've spent multiple trips in Cuba and spent a lot of time getting to know and understand, what needs to be done to elevate the performance of the trail, the beauty of the area, and pull this together. And being that it's a rural program, specifically around rural, this $300,000 of funding is targeted to communities all south of the thruway. So I feel like we're committed to that. I've got land in Birdsall. We're paying taxes in Allegany County. We're all part of the communities that we live in. So I feel optimistic that this is going to result in some real positive things for the entire region, but most notably in the South.
I mean, I don't have any doubts about anybody here. And Carl, that's what actually the things that I'm really actually super impressed about you is that you're trying to deal with it all. But the question is, leadership changes. And as we're developing the regional identity is, once again, this might not be the setting, but it would be nice to say, maybe we should draw a line somewhere and make sure. I mean, if the funding is USDA, if our identity is rural, I don't want to belabor this, but it'd be nice to structure this in as we're beginning to develop this new mapping, to put a line there. And, I don't want to say anymore. I think you guys get it. So, but leadership does change. This is the issue. Can we structure this for the future after you wonderful people, are gone?
Absolutely, Ellen. And I think that one of the reasons why we focus so much on, people often hear me say culture before structure, why building these relationships and this kind of mindset is really key, because that is the thing that is going to go beyond, leadership changes. If we can really do our job in terms of, cultivating that mindset and that culture. In that kind of worldview. But I would love to talk to you offline about strategies for that. So, if you have specific ideas, always happy to collaborate, as I'm sure Joan and Carl and all the other folks that are involved with this, about how we would officially draw lines around that and what that means.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up with David Zorn, but just to be honest, I think we can put it off till after January 1st. If that's okay.
Yeah, Dave has left us, but we were written into the SEDS this year. So REDI and, which is good progress with codifying this, so.
Yeah, I was impressed with the meeting we had with Genesee Finger Lakes. Is that SEDS workshop primarily focused around a lot of the same topics you heard today: recreation, rural. The message is getting across, and it's due to the success of the team that's been working, on this effort for the past few years. Well, thanks for the feedback.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Thank you, Ellen. And okay. I guess we will try to move on then with our meeting and keep it very brief and probably not do everything that I had scheduled.